What's good with you? Real quick, I want to show you how you can monetize your beats and your songs, um, which is very important if you're a producer or artist. There's no reason why your songs or your beats should just be sitting on your hard drive when now it's set up, for us to win. There's no middleman. It's just about knowing what you need to do uh, to monetize uh, your music so that you can start receiving income. So as you see up here, I go through cdbaby.com, and the reason why I do that is because CD Baby is pretty much partnered with all the major platforms that stream, even overseas. So this is pretty much like a one-stop shop. Now, there's some things that you want to have set up before you get into here, because if not, what you're going to have to do is back out, find the stuff they're asking for, and it's just going to be a big mess and headache. So when you go in here, it's just best to be prepared. So another thing that's very important is that you need ASCAP or BMI. That's kind of like driving a brand new Mercedes without insurance. You're not going to do it, because the pros, they'll fight for you, and they'll make sure you get what you're supposed to get coming to you. So you want to make sure you have that definitely set up. The next thing before you get in here, there's like four things. Yeah, there's four things you need. First, you're gonna just need a picture of yourself, like a headshot. You can do that from your computer. You're gonna need cover art. Now, they accept two sizes. You can either have 1,000 by 1,000 or 1,400 by 1,400, and that's the outer. So you can crop a picture, in there, and I'll show you, kind of what you need to do so you'll have an idea shortly. But it has to be high resolution, else they won't accept it. You'll have to fix it until it's high resolution. Now, if it's pixelated, again, they're not going to accept it. So you want to have that. Another thing, you have to have a bio written in third person, no longer than 150 words. Just describing yourself, what inspired you, and whatever not. When you get to going through it, it's kind of self-explanatory, but these things you need. The last thing you're going to need is your bank info, because they electronic deposit, your money wherever you have your cutoff set. So, like, for example, you say every $25, I want you to do a deposit into my account, or every $100 or $200, whatever you set your limit for. So those are things you're going to need. Now, as you see here, under add new title, you're going to click on that. And then you want to click on single song. Now, there's a couple options. I always pick the $9.95 because I have ASCAP, and that's the cheaper way anyway. Your ASCAP, you want to get both. You want to have a writers and a publishers. That way you're not leaving any money on the table. But when you do your singles, you want to pick the standard. But then also it's going to be additional $5 for your UPC code, which is your universal product code. And that code identifies your song, and that's how the Billboard charts. That's what they use to identify, who's number one for this week, who made the most revenue and all them things. That's all tracked by the UPC code. And I'll show you what that looks like as well. But you want to select the $9.95. Now, here's where it gets into all the info, which is pretty much self-explanatory. But one thing I did want to point out is with the licensing, make sure you check that the sync licensing. So when your stuff gets played on YouTube, SoundCloud, pretty much all the other platforms, you're going to get revenue from that as well. Now, if you happen to already have a barcode, then you just check it. Again, it's self-explanatory, but those 4 things that I named, you know, it's important that you have that done first, because again, that way you don't have to switch out to another screen or back up. You know, it can just be smooth for you. Now, after you complete all of this stuff, as you see on the side, at the end, then you know you'll get your UPC code. I would recommend that you put your codes, keep them in a folder, like how I have some of mine over here, you know, just for your records. Now, as far as cover art, let's say you really don't have a budget for that yet. That's fine. You can just go to Pig Font, PIC font, which I'm going to show you right here. And this is where you would load up your cover art. So basically, here's from one of my YouTubes. You would take this, you put it in here. Now, it's important that you go to the resize, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself getting real frustrated, because if you don't uncheck this, after you resize it, it's just going to go right back to the original size it was. So just give you an example. So say you resized it. But see, what I usually do here is I'll go and crop it, and then I'll crop it with whatever background I want. And you can find all that up here. See your background, you crop it. And then you want to come to the import button and then import your picture and set it on top of your background. I'm not going to get into all that. It's super easy. And then what you'll do is you'll put your name, your stage name, or whatever you go by, and the title of the song with the picture in the middle. And I'm going to show you a picture of that right now. So basically, it'll look like this. This is one of the very, very first ones I did. Now they won't even, when you have it going through Pandora, iTunes, Spotify, all the major platforms, they don't accept the type beat anymore. So what I would recommend, if it was me, it would be A1 Custom Beats right here. And then the name of the song, Victory. And I probably wouldn't even have his picture. I'd put something else that would capture people's attention. But, you know, it's a process. You learn as you go. But this right here will, you know, steer you away from a lot of roadblocks that I faced when, you know, I was learning it on my own. So just remember the 4 things. You know, just take a pic of yourself first, have your cover art, or come to Pick Font and make your cover art. Have your bio, that's 150 words, no more than 150 words in third person. And then of course your banking info for CD Baby. Now, as far as like a UPC code, it looks just like the codes on the stuff you buy in the grocery store. It's crazy, but that's how that number identifies your song. You know, and so you're like copyrighting your work. And so that's what the UPC code looks like. And you need that to stream your music. So if you're sitting on a ton of beats, or I mean even 10, or or if you're an artist and you got songs, I mean, man, stream them. The middleman is cut out. It's up to us. You know, it's set up for us to win. So it's time to take full advantage of it. So I hope that helped. If you know anybody else that can use this information, as far as learning how to monetize, please share it. If this video helped you, please like. If you have any questions for me, my email and all my information is below. Just shoot me an email and I'll be sure to get back to you in a reasonable fashion. I just want to thank you for your time and for watching. Until then, we'll talk soon.